definitely go through the lesson from the very beginning as a reminder. Okay? Mainly, this lesson, guys, is talking about three modern perspectives in sociology, in modern sociology. Okay? In fact, in sociology, we have a lot of theories, a lot of explanations, but our main interest this year will be only three theories: the functionalist, the conflict, and the interactionist perspective. Okay? The first one that we had already discussed is the functionalist perspective. The first sociologist to mention something about the importance of function in the society was Emile Durkheim, and he said that the function is the consequence of an element. What does this mean? What's an element? I will tell you. The society, there is one in the lobby. Let me admit him. Said. Okay. So guys, the the society as a general consists of different parts. Okay? Different parts in the society. We can say that education is a part, government is a part, politics is a part, family is the part. Somehow, these parts are interacting together, communicating together to produce something. The result of this interacting can be social stability or social change. Okay? So, from a functionalist perspective, they said that the different parts of the society have some kind of mutual agreement. They agreed together to produce a stable social system. Okay? Of course, inside every part of the different parts of the society, there are elements. Like, for example, let's talk about the educational part. Of course, we said education is a part in the society. Inside this part, you're gonna see schools, for example. So schools is an element. What's the consequence of this element will be the function. Got the idea?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. The early sociologists talk about the functionalism where Auguste Comte, Emile Durkheim, and Herbert Spencer. Okay. And they studied three parts of the society: education, family, and religion. So, from a functionalist perspective, they said that every single part in the society will simply produce a function, like the function of schools, for example, to provide education, to prepare the students for their further life, for their future. Okay? But of course, we are not living in the perfect world. We are not living in utopia, for example. Of course, not everything in the society is working smoothly. There are some bad functions, wrong functions in the society. Like, for example, not all the schools are fulfilling their jobs. Not all the doctors are treating their patients with good care. Of course, there are some bad doctors, for example, who will mistreat their patients. Okay? So the opposite of function will be dysfunction, will be the negative consequence an element had for the stability of the social system. And of course, dysfunction is the negative consequence, while the positive consequence is simply function. Okay? Get the difference between both of them? Function and dysfunction.
Yeah.
Either positive or negative, either a function or a dysfunction. The functions have two types: the manifest and latent. Okay, one of them is recognized, the other one is hidden, and we're gonna talk about them a lot. So please keep in your mind the manifest from the word manifesto. Do you know manifesto?
Um, what is manifesto?
What is
like a
manifesto?
dossier,
Yes, sorry, speak up.
It's like a dossier, I think.
Dossier, what? Say it again, speak up.
اللي هي بالعربي دوسية يعني زي الملف.
No, 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 no. Manifesto, guys, is something like a statement, okay? Like to have a
اتفاقية
public,
صح؟
like not like a deal. If you are in a public speaking, okay, and you will read something, okay, you will read a statement to the public. This is a manifesto, declaration, okay? So from the meaning, manifesto, you can simply try to have some kind of a link. So if it's clear to everyone, it's recognized. It cannot be hidden. In order to differentiate between both of them, manifest and latent. Okay? So the manifest from the word manifesto, for example, is recognized. Every single human being can simply notice this action, while the latent is hidden deep inside. And we discussed a lot of examples regarding this issue by wearing a Rolex. Of course, to have a watch, the manifest function will be you can easily know the time by having a watch. This is logical thinking, manifest. While the latent will be, you are a wealthy guy wearing a Rolex. So you have got yourself a social standing among your colleagues by showing wealth. Okay? So either positive or negative, the functions have two types, manifest and latent. Okay, guys? Let's go on. Do you have any problems regarding the functionalism or the functionalist perspective? If you have any, you can simply ask me.
So I want to ask a question.
Sorry?
I want to ask a question.
Yes, be my guest.
So manifest and latent are two kinds of functions, or يعني each function has two, like has the two of them, but يعني one is recognized and one is unrecognized.
Okay. In order not to mix these definitions together, okay, try to imagine the function as a coin. Okay, a coin. Of course, the coin has two sides. This coin can be function or dysfunction.
Okay.
The coin as a whole can be negative or positive. Either function or dysfunction, both of them are a coin. But the coin has two sides, right? Two sides of the coin. One of them is manifest and the other side is latent for the same coin. So the coin as a generally talking, the coin can be function or dysfunction.
Right.
And this function, the coin by itself, can have will have two sides, manifest and latent. Okay? So all the functions, either function or dysfunction, either positive or negative, all the functions have two sides. Please, if you are not using your mic, muted because of the surrounding noise. So you have two sides for each functions. One of them is recognized and the other one is hidden deep inside. Okay? Any more questions? Remember, by the end of this lesson, I will ask you. Okay?
No, Mr. No questions.
Okay. The next one, the conflict perspective. The first one who mentioned something about the conflict perspective was Karl Marx. This guy is a problem because he simply inspired a lot of people, a lot of generations after his death to revolt, okay, to have some kind of conflict by their authority. So keep in your mind that in his writings, Karl Marx did not mention the usage of violence. who do not say use violence. Again, as a reminder, Karl Marx said, all the societies all over the world consist of two main social classes, wealthy and poor, bourgeoisie and proletariat, businessmen and workers, wealthy men and laborers. Okay? So he said that this is not fair. This is not fair enough. So how we can redistribute the wealth of any nation? The proletariat, the workers, the laborers will be united and they will overthrow the bourgeoisie from their position, from their power. Okay? And he didn't say use violence. He didn't use this issue. He didn't say that they will be united and enforce the bourgeoisie to leave their position. No, he didn't mention that. After his death, the people started to apply his method. And in fact, whole countries started to establish and adopt his theory. Then they will create a classless society. No more social classes. No more differentiation between people. All of the people will be the same. All the people will contribute in the society according to their abilities. And in return, they will be rewarded according to their needs. This is Karl Marx's point of view. And he established the conflict perspective. Okay? So remember, conflict had nothing to do with violence. Okay? But there is some kind of disagreement, like the feminine movement. Of course, females need their right from their point of view. Try to imagine that until 1920, 1925s, females were not allowed to enter the workforce over there in the States. The United States of America, the land of liberty, equality. Back to the 1920s, females were not allowed to enter the workforce. They cannot easily work. They allowed them to enter the work field because they had no option, because all of the men were involved in World War I. Because of the two world wars, so there was a shortage in labor. So they started to allow the females to enter the workforce. Okay? And before, I think they have until 1950s, 1960s, they allowed them to vote in the political elections. So there was some kind of feminist movement over there. They needed the rights. But can I ask you a question now? Do you think nowadays in the modern world, females didn't get the rights? They need to ask those in power for more rights. I'm not talking about a certain country. I'm talking here from a global perspective. I'm talking here in general.
Well,
Yes,
Mister,
Mr.
can you
I think they
repeat the
took all their
question?
rights.
Speak up.
Me, Mister?
Yes.
Yes, I think women took globally all their rights.
I totally agree with you. In some countries, they are presidents.
Yes. And prime
Yes.
ministers also. They have everything that
Prime
a man
ministers. Try to have a look at Great Britain. Queen Elizabeth.
can do. Yes.
Yes. But I think nowadays males want more rights, not females. Let's continue. So, guys, keep in your mind, conflict perspective has nothing to do with the usage of violence. Okay? But the struggle came from one thing. resources. Sociologists said that wealth and power are in limited supply in the society. Wealth and power. Okay, so if one wanna take a piece of this wealth or even from power, he can easily get some of the wealth. Imagine the situation. Have a look here. Okay, here is a picture. Business owner and his employer. Okay, in fact, this employer is doing all the work. Okay, he took all the burden of this job. In return, he will get little money. All the profits will go to the business owner. So this guy will be wealthier because of him, because of his efforts. And I think I have told you this issue yesterday about Bezos, or it was in another class. Can you remind me here?
Yeah, I spoke about it, sir.
Yes. So those in power will try to shape the rules, try to enforce some rules in order to protect their interests. So not the normal people can be wealthy like them.
They control the economy.
Yes, they are shaping the rules to their favor in order to protect their interests. Okay? So the conflict here comes because wealth and power are in limited supply in the society. So people are competing to reach wealth and power. Try to have a look at your family, for example. Okay, of course, we said that family is a part of the society. And do not talk about your personal families, guys. Talk about families in general. Okay? Try to think about decision making within one family. You want to reach a decision in this family. How are you going to reach it? I need something. My brother needs something else. My parents need a third option. How do you think we can reach an agreement? And here, conflict perspectives, I do not mean the usage of violence. Of course, logically, you will not use violence within your own family members. How do you think?
To see which thing that is more important to the family.
What?
I'm not talking about important issues. Let's say that a favorite meal. Okay, we are discussing the issue of what you gonna eat tomorrow. What do you wanna eat tomorrow? Okay, if we have 4 members in the family, okay, and every one of them wanna have a different meal, how do you think we can reach an agreement? Use your mind. Any hints? Any suggestions?
Choose randomly.
Randomly? Maybe one of your family members will say, I will not eat.
Hey, just don't eat.
Speak up, speak up.
Just don't eat, mister.
Don't eat. What if he's a baby brother or sister? He do not know what's good for him.
Force him to eat.
Okay, let me try something else. We wanna buy a car. Okay, a new car for the family. Who will choose it? Father,
The father.
mother, children?
The father, of course.
The
one who's-
father will
who's
choose?
buying it with his own money, and he was the one working with this money to get.
So this gonna mean, if you are able to buy If you have the money, you have the decision, right?
Yeah, that's yeah. True.
So let me tell you another example. You wanna buy dinner for one of your friends. Okay? So you will
No.
buy
Yeah.
Ahmed. You will buy the food. And you will
Uh-huh.
simply enforce your friend to go to your favorite restaurant
No, it's
even
not.
though he do not like this food.
ما هو طب ما أنا عازمه فهو he chooses like the car is something else like completely different.
This regarding your decision, Ahmed Al-Sayed. Won't it be a dictatorship this way? I have the
This is
money,
how
so
it
I will
works.
choose.
I know it's dictatorship, but like that's how life works in here.
How it works. Okay, let me tell you something. It's a reasonable solution. Okay, so let's say that the father, of course, because of our culture, because of our traditions here in the Middle East, for example, the father will choose the brand, Gems or Chevy or whatever the brand will be. Okay, but the color of this vehicle can simply be chosen by the mother. Okay.
Okay.
And for the options, extra options, for example, in this vehicle, the children can choose it. To have LCD screens, for example, at the back seats, air conditioning, the color of the textures of the chairs, and so on. So what I mean that you can reach a mutual agreement. It's not a dictatorship. Got the idea?
Yeah, I see.
Won't it be a reasonable solution? Or what do you
Yep.
think, guys? Express your thoughts. I wanna know what's inside your minds. You can simply tell me.
You are right, Mr.
Speak up, Hani. Your sound is very far. I cannot hear you. You are Hani, right? I do not know. You're Leo?
Union أيوة.
Leo, yes. Speak
For
up.
example, the food problem, you can just buy a small part of each people's food and then just
Try to get the mic closer to your mouth.
it is
So I
better,
can,
Mr.
yes, just a little bit. Speak up.
Okay, the food example you just mentioned like before. So what you mean is that we can like take everyone's opinion to get a different food and then not like an entire part, like just small part or something. Don't know. Everyone just get its own food. That's all.
I didn't hear you well, Leo, but I think you're talking about food, about the previous example, right? Mustafa, Mustafa, Mustafa Muhammad. If I have,
Which
we
one?
have two Mustafa Muhammads. Mustafa Muhammad Kamal, sorry.
Yes.
What about decision making within the family?
Yeah, I think everyone should have at least one thing to choose from, as you said earlier.
And by the way, psychologically talking, not sociologically talking, psychological. It's really related to psychology, the social science that studies the mental issues. Okay, if you have a baby brother or baby sister and you're gonna ask him about his opinion about a certain issue, it will enhance his personality. So guys,
Mr. I don't
yes,
think it really happened like parents. So parents don't really ask like kids about their opinions because you know they're still kids, so you don't really care about what they think. No,
so
not they
this
don't
this
care,
gonna
but
mean
like they think that it's like
you do
something
not
not
have an
important.
opinion.
What?
It
No, I mean
means that
kids.
the kids do not
Kids.
have opinions.
No, they have, but like I don't think parents really like take it as important as
So let me
older members.
let me give you an example. Maybe while you were a little kid in grade 4 or 5, and your parents wanna buy you some clothes. So to buy a t-shirt. So your parents didn't ask you which color do you prefer, this one or this one, or they simply pick
No,
some from the shelf and give it to you to wear.
no, I'm not talking about my family. I'm talking
Um,
generally. But yeah,
yes.
they would ask me. Yeah.
Yes, even though the example was simply a minor issue, but simply to ask, of course, the parents will ask the children how to enhance our financial condition. Of course, they will not ask them these questions. But here I'm talking about minor issues, simple options.
Yeah,
That's
new
the
stuff, I
idea.
guess. Yeah, but like a car, I don't think they would ask like kids for options in a
For a
car. Or...
teenager, for a teenager,
Yeah, a teenager.
and
Yeah.
you have a driving license. So
Mr.
this
Can I
gonna
say?
mean that you do not have an option,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do not have a decision.
Yeah. I mean, like younger.
Miss,
Yes. Who said Mr.? Some
عامر أو
yes,
عامر
I'm
رائد.
yes, I'm
Yeah, when I was a kid, my father was like, we were two boys and one girl. So he bought. I was maybe in grade 4, so he bought a new full option Camry 2009 that year, and he was like asking us what do we want. So he took us to the Toyota, and he was like two cars. One of them were Camry, and he chose the Camry. Me and my mom and my dad chose the Camry, but the color of the car and the so we chose it, and every time the car we see it, we love it because everyone chose something, and we loved the car. So he made
I think there is something going on with your mic. I
like
can't hear
inside
you
us
clearly.
built some because maybe we were apart in
I
choosing
thought
it.
it was my
And it was
wife.
famous. He was asking us. Okay.
Okay, Amir, I didn't hear you well, but I think you were talking about your experience uh, with buying a car, and you, sorry, you with your brothers and sister sharing this experience with your parent. Even though, guys, your parents will not take your opinion in their consideration, but asking by itself is a good thing. So I remember my father asked me about what kind of pets do you have. I wanted a pet when I was a child, and I replied, I need a chimpanzee. So there is no problem. This is your response. Okay. And he bought me a cat. It's up to him. So the asking by itself is a good issue. Okay. Thank you guys for being here with me until